Good morning. This is Bob Passy again for Democracy Rising America, and more about the urgent need there is for all-inclusive citizens movement that allows for all of the groups who are fighting good fights for Black Lives Matter and for the pipeline protesters and all of the people that are trying to stop the energy industry from continuing on its course, and for people who are fighting for justice and good causes all over. But they're basically fighting to be sure that we have a voice in our democracy. So the big tent idea, the overarching umbrella, would be an organization that would welcome all of those people because they're all fighting for restoring democracy in this country and saving the earth, both which present sort of existential threats to us here. We have elected someone who is now more likely to act like a CEO than a president. So we're very close to autocratic rule. At any rate, the overarching organization that might be called Democracy Rising America, or could be something else too. It just needs to be having basic principles of restoring democracy to this country, most of all, and that restores, that rehumanizes us again, as opposed to the economic direction that we're going now that treats everything in a dehumanized way of monetizing all life and grinding it up to support them. And to find a way to have a sustainable earth. Both of them are kind of crucial, one to our democracy, but the other to our very existence. So I'm going to just briefly give you a little historical background or perspective that will perhaps help you think about what's been going on. From the very beginning of this nation, the people who were some of the important people that were behind the revolution were also very wealthy and became even more wealthy after the revolution, the Revolutionary War. I'm talking about our break from England, because to some degree their gripe was that they had to be under the control of a king and an aristocracy that was in England, and pay tax and do what the English wanted them to do. And it mostly, a big piece of it for those people was they wanted to be the aristocracy. They wanted to form an American aristocracy, so they could reap the benefits themselves rather than sending those benefits back to England. They didn't want to be colonies. But part of them, the wealthy, wanted to form their own aristocracy, and in order to enlist the people to throw off the English yoke, they came up with the idea of democracy. And it isn't that they didn't believe in democracy, it's just that there was a strain there that wanted the wealth and business to be in the controlling seat. And that's a little bit the way it kind of started, and a lot of people got very rich. And that basically has continued all the way through our history, a continual push by the wealthy and businesses, corporations, to try to capture the government and be in control of things for their own benefit. They were careful not to tread too heavily on the ideals of democracy, but they only grudgingly gave in to them, and wherever they could, they took advantage of the situation. And government was probably, as much as anything else, to be in service of business and the wealthy. So that's a long-term thing, and in some ways that idea of the wealthy being the aristocratic rulers of this country never quite left. That was an English idea that, although it was hidden a little behind the rhetoric of democracy, it continued on for a long time. And so maybe I'll stop there. Next time I'll talk a little bit about what happens with the with the New Deal and a more democratizing idea, and what happened since then. At any rate, just something to think about how we got into this situation of very wealthy wanting, and in our case now, basically having gotten control of the entire country. Again, this is Bob Passy for Democracy Rising America. Bye now.